Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is a show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, Wonder Woman 3s, possibly. With me, I'm your host, DJ Woldridge. With me, as always, is Roxy Stryer. Roxy, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
You know what? This is going to be... I'm not even going to say what we're talking about this week because this might be one of those where the news story becomes the story. So we're just going to play loosey-goosey, see how where the chips land. As always, if you want more of this show, you can listen to it over at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. You can catch these episodes early. And without ads, and we can check out our Patreon exclusive shows, What We're Into, Spider-Versity, a bunch of cool stuff like that. And of course, if you're listening on Spotify, we ask you a question every week. What pop culture reference in the MCU is your favorite? Connor said, being from Jersey, it was cool to see Mallrats script written by Kevin Smith appearing in Captain Marvel. So be on the lookout for those Spotify questions, would you? Gosh dang it. So I just mentioned it earlier, but this was one of those weeks where, Roxy and I were talking about the show, and she was like, okay, we're going to do news. And I was like, is there any news? And then last night no, it was Wednesday night, I think, of this week. But I usually plan everything out on Wednesday. It was like, boom, deadline. Wonder Woman 3 is not happening. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, TJ had texted me and he was like, hey, any news this week? And I was like, and I hadn't responded because I saw his text and I was like, I can't think of anything. And then I think at 1 a.m, I was like, well.
Yeah. Well, this has happened. So we got this deadline report. Here are the highlights. Roxy, if I'm missing anything, excuse me, let me know. But it was basically, the big one was Wonder Woman 3 with Patty Jenkins isn't happening, which, by the way, that's the headline. That's not quite how it's phrased in the story. It was phrased more as it stands. The script as it stands won't be moving forward that way, which in my brain doesn't quite compute to we're not doing Wonder Woman 3.
Right. They very clearly kept saying, as it stands, Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman 3 is not happening. Yeah. Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman 3.
Yeah.
And she had just pitched something. So that doesn't even mean that never Patty Jenkins or never Wonder Woman 3 means that this version.
Yeah.
No. And then there were obviously several other rumors that were circulating about this, including Momoa being Lobo and having no more Aquaman.
That was the weirdest one. Because it's like, okay, Wonder Woman 3 is not happening. And okay, so also Black Adam 2 and Man of Steel 2 aren't happening, which the Man of Steel one was a little bit wild. Black Adam doesn't seem to be doing that well, so that didn't surprise me so much.
Although it didn't say not, for sure, but these are all things that are in the circling.
Are in the article and circling around and everything. The wildest one was Momoa will no longer be Aquaman, he'll be Lobo. And it's like that. I mean, he'll be good Lobo, but that's weird. That just feels like a weird recasting somebody from your previous setup in a whole new, that just felt, I don't know. Roxy, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
And you have to give me a yes or no.
Okay.
After we see Aquaman and after we see The Flash.
Yeah.
Are they doing a reboot on the DC? As in, we will no longer see Gal, Jason, at least in that role, Henry, Ben, Ezra, Ray.
That is for my reading of the Deadline article, that is what was implied in that article, is that we're
you think yes? DJ thinks yes.
I think that is what the article is saying. Yes. Does DJ think that? DJ thinks no, because DJ thinks to reboot all of that. While I do think there's merit in it, for I think reasons that are obvious at this point, certain casting reasons that I think make sense at this point. That also means technically. Wouldn't that also mean rebooting Peacemaker and rebooting James Gunn's The Suicide Squad and rebooting whatever the next show James Gunn was already working on?
Maybe not because of multiverse purposes and reasons. Maybe not.
Let me bounce that right back at you. Does Roxy think we're heading towards a reboot of the DC universe?
I also think that's the implication in the article. The biggest holdup for me on saying yes is the Henry Cavill of it all. Mm-hmm. I can't picture a world in which they convince Henry Cavill to quit Witcher and then never give him a Man of Steel 2. That just is so that would suck. I mean, that would be so shitty.
Yeah.
So I also am with you. If I had to say yes or no, I would say no.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm right.
Same, because at this point, weirder things have happened.
Yeah.
James Gunn tweeted out, so as for the story yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter, I thought it was Deadline. I fucked up that one. Sorry, everybody. So as for the story...
okay. If it's Hollywood Reporter, then it's also Deadline and Variety.
Yeah. As for the story yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter, some of it is true, some of it is half true, some of it is not true, and some of it we haven't decided yet whether it's true or not. And it should be mentioned, something that stood out to me in the article, it's like James Gunn and Peter Safran locked themselves in a cabin over here and had a private meeting. Here's what we know. And it's like, how do we know? How do we know what you know if they haven't even pitched their thing yet? So what parts of this do you think are true, half true, and not true?
The only thing, the thing that I think is the realist of this tweet is some of it we haven't decided yet whether it's true or not. I don't think they know for a fact what they're doing yet.
Yeah.
I think if they knew for a fact what they were doing, we would know what they were doing. But I don't think they know. And I think yesterday probably the trigger was pulled a little too soon on them. And they were like,
yeah,
this is like, how do you justify getting Henry Cavill to leave The Witcher and then never having him in a movie?
Yeah.
Of course, it's on the table for them, but how do you justify that? Also, Wonder Woman 2, not great. The first Wonder Woman, excellent.
Yes.
Do they really want to lose Gal? I don't know.
And also, do they really want to shit can their other female leading movie after shelving Batgirl forever? Like, that doesn't look great.
But also, I do feel as if they're stuck between a rock and a hard place for a billion reasons. Number one, the two movies that we know are coming out are Aquaman and Flash. At this point, I don't see either of those not coming out.
Yes.
What are the chances we see a Flash movie and people don't want more? But then they're tying they're hitching their wagon to Ezra Miller, which is yikes.
Yeah.
And in Aquaman, we had the whole Amber Heard debacle. So it's like their two most problematic movies. And even if they are able to, I heard that they have cut Amber Heard's role to less than 10 minutes or whatever. Even if you and I have pretty strong feelings, DJ, on Johnny Depp, most people that I find hate Amber Heard. Hate her. That's problematic when she is the woman star of your movie. Yeah. Like, she's not Aquaman, but even if you cut her down 10 minutes, I don't think people are going to be stoked to not have a Mera. Yeah. I think that they were handed something that they are obviously conflicted on what to do, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, and I think especially when you get into we've talked about this before. I do think there was merit at one point at rebooting the DC universe. I still do think there's some merit to that, except we've already made the moves, like with Henry Cavill, that we're moving forward. And also, it's kind of crazy to say, like, I think Aquaman 1 made $1 billion, right? Something like that. It made a lot of money. Money. Aquaman 2 is probably going to make a lot of money. It'd be like, no, we don't want that. Let's do Lobo. Like, what are you even talking about? That I think. So if I were to go through,
what are you even talking about?
Yeah, like, that's wild to me. I think the part of it that is true is that I would be surprised if it's straight up no Wonder Woman 3 with Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot. I think what makes more sense to me is say, because of where we're going, this version that you've pitched us isn't going to work. And so let's talk about not doing something different. Seeing if you're down to do something different. And on Wonder Woman 3 with Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot, but not this one that you've pitched us, because we're doing different things now. Half true, probably not a Black Adam 2. Sorry, Dwayne. Not true. I would say Henry Cavill, they're not being a Man of Steel 2. I mean,
there's all different things around this too, DJ. As you're mentioning it, Gal Gadot tweeted this week, like, can't wait for you guys to see Wonder Woman again or whatever. Rock tweeted this week being like, don't know why you guys are saying this movie didn't do well. Look at how fucking well we're crushing it in the box office, millions of dollars, whatever. Like, these people are tweeting simultaneously. Henry Cavill tweeting a couple of weeks ago, "I'm Superman again, bitch."
Yeah.
It's not actually what he said, but you understand what I mean.
Yes.
Like they're I think they're learning things in real time with us. And so they're being told one thing and then they're being told something else. And like we are seeing what that looks like actively in real time. We haven't even mentioned Shazam in all of this, by the way, which like I don't know what the intention is.
Who knows? Because also Peter Safran is a producer on that one. So like
yeah, and that one doesn't seem to be stepping on anybody's toes, but it is very much in line with whatever is going to happen with Black Adam, I feel like. So
yeah, it's just wild. And I think I do kind of feel it's weird to say, but like I have faith in James. I will have faith in James Gunn and Peter Safran until something concrete comes otherwise, and then I'll have questions. You know what I mean? But like we don't know, and I don't know. I think this just goes in line. Something that DC has always struggled with is there's always been more money in the DC drama than there has been in just announcing cool DC things. Like ever since you and I have been doing this, it's always been like, here's how DC is fucking Warner Brothers is fucking shit up with DC.
Totally. Yeah, I have trust in them too. I do think though they only have a 4-year contract. The worst thing that could happen is they start to implement things. Zaslav pulls the plug in 4 years.
Yeah.
We bring in new people to start implementing new things.
Yes.
Like I think that they have
which really, we've done like what 3 times. That exact scenario has happened like 3 times now.
And that's the problem. Like, I think that they really needed to be under a 10-year contract. Like, I think that DC needs to like really turn a whole ship.
Yeah. And I think James Gunn made a comment I saw in a Variety article that like we're tasked with shaping the next 10 years. And it was like, so you come up with a 10-year plan. You either in 4 years you leave or your contract's renewed. Like, I don't, you know, like.
Right. Oh boy.
Yeah. Wild. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think at this point, a full reboot seems unlikely to me, but Stranger Things is a show on Netflix. So speaking of Netflix transition, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. So right now, for those that aren't on Patreon, go to patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. We're taking a hiatus from our What We're Into show to pre-record some holiday content. So we haven't been able to do What We're Into proper, but I did want to take a second to talk with you because everybody's talking about it, and I know you've watched it. Wednesday.
The show's so good. I think it's like has no business being as good as it is. I can't exactly even tell you why. It's like I think it's mainly because of the dialogue. Which I never would have thought I would be saying about a Wednesday show.
I'm also surprised that you say that because my wife has watched it and I have seen scenes and I have notes on the dialogue.
No, it's so tight. Like the scripts, they understand their characters so well. I think if you weren't popping in the middle of it, like if you actually watched it, their dialogue is fantastic. The story is great. Jenna Ortega is amazing.
I 100% agree with that from what I've seen.
Her best friend Enid is so awesome. The pop-ins from Louise and from Catherine Zeta-Jones are chef's kiss. The coming of age aspect is like not cheesy. It's wonderful. And the supernatural elements are great. The show's so good.
Cool.
Is your wife not liking it?
No, she likes it. I just every once in a while I'll watch it with her watching it. And it's so funny because I like watched one scene. I'm like, well, that guy's the bad guy. And I was right. And then another scene, it's like, well, this person's also bad. And I was also right. And it's like, it's not
really a show to like, I wasn't like wondering who's what.
Yeah.
For most of this
but isn't it a mystery? Isn't that the motive? Here's what I'll say. I think Jenna Ortega is fantastic, and I think the production design is really good. I think it's a show that is aggressively not my thing, which is not the show's fault. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never would have thought this show would have been my thing, but it was.
Yeah. But Jenna Ortega, whatever is going on, the renaissance is the wrong word, but for some reason that is the word stuck in my brain. This moment she's having. It seems well earned because she's been great in everything I've seen her in.
Yeah, she is having a crazy great couple years.
We also briefly, I did want to, Roxy, did you watch any of the new Willow? That just dropped. I feel like we should at least mention it.
I saw one episode. I thought it was unbearable.
Yeah, I watched two, and again, I decided, you know what, DJ, life's too short, and I was like, yeah, if you're listen, for those that like it, God bless you. It's not for me. I did think Warwick Davis, it takes a minute to get to Warwick Davis in the first episode, but once he shows up, I'm like, oh, this is better now.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's not nice that I said what I said. It's not unbearable. I just have been watching. At the end of the year, I watch all of the shows that are on people's top 10 lists that I didn't see.
Yeah.
So I'm watching like the bee's knees of television at the end of the year. And then to pause that to watch this, I was like, that's a bummer for Willow that I'm comparing this now to like Under the Banner of Heaven.
I still need to watch that.
Things that it's like, I missed it. So I'm going back and watching, and then I'm pausing it to watch Willow. And I was like, oh, maybe if I had seen this in March or something.
Or like we're in a different, and again, I think it's one of those things that like obviously I'm very opinionated, I'm very passionate about my opinions, but there's also things like Wednesday. It's clearly not. I'm not the target demographic for Wednesday. It feels in line with like one of the like a Riverdale, and that's just not my jam. Similar with Willow, it reminds me, and this is going to sound like a diss, and I do not mean it as. It feels like a Disney Channel show with a bigger budget, and that's like those shows are popular and fine. It's just not a show meant for me to enjoy, which, spoiler alert, not every show is meant specifically for me to enjoy. That's fine. So it's not moving the needle for me. Hopefully Willow fans of like I enjoy the movie. I'm not like a Willow fan. Fans of the movie are enjoying it because I think that would be the goal, I would assume. And we'll circle back. Last thing you and I touched on briefly that we are both enjoying is Tulsa King over on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, this show's great. I mean, as of this moment, there's been 4 episodes?
I think, and I've only watched. Wait, have I watched 4? I think you're right. 4. Yeah, I've watched all 4.
Whatever it is, I'm caught up because I'm watching this show.
Yeah.
I sent DJ a text that said, why do I find Sly the hottest he's ever been in this show? And DJ wrote back, I don't think I'm qualified to answer that.
Yeah,
and
I don't.
I was like, fair.
Because for me, he's great in it. He's older. You know, you can, it's one of those things. They did this a lot with Mike in the later seasons.
He's 76. Like
and props to the show that it's like that the character is that. We're not trying to pretend like he's younger. That's the character's age. Yeah, he's great. I think one of my favorite scenes in a show this year is in Tulsa King, which is the scene when they're driving back from the pot growers and he's high. And it's like,
so great.
It's so great. It's some of the best comedy work Sylvester Stallone has ever done, in my opinion.
I love his driver.
Yeah.
That character is awesome. I love the premise of this. I'm just really liking the show. I think that it's got legs, and I wouldn't have put on my bingo card that I was going to love a Sylvester Stallone show in 2022.
Mm-hmm. It very much, this is going to be weird for people listening to the show. We pre-recorded our best of TV show, and Lon talked about, he mentioned something as like, Reacher is like a dad show. It's like Tulsa King. It's like a dad show, but I'm into it. The dad in me is enjoying it. It's just a fun, but I'm kind of getting suckered into this whole, what is it? Taylor Sheridan
world.
You know, like I'm looking forward to, what is it? 1923 or I think it's either 1923 or 1933. The next Yellowstone prequel. Yeah. I'm going to watch that shit. I like Tulsa King. Shit, I'm probably going to watch that Jeremy Renner show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in now. All right. That's our little bit of what we're into. Let us know in the comments down below how hot you think Sylvester Stallone is at 76.
Ooh, smoke.
I didn't know. Listen, as a straight dude, I was like, I don't feel that, but I tried to think of like an example, and I've been rewatching. I've been watching for the first time X-Files.
Oh, no way.
And I don't know why I'm fucking blanking on
Gillian Anderson.
Gillian Anderson is one of those, like, obviously she's attractive in the show, but it's one of those like, how is Gillian Anderson hotter now in 2022?
I know. She really is.
Yeah,
She
like
really
how
is.
what
Wow,
if
there was no sex education this year, right? Otherwise, that would have been on my list. That must
you
have been
would be the
last
one
year.
to tell me. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. But it is but that was my comparison. It's like, okay, so I don't feel that for Sly, but what's it? Oh, Gillian Anderson's like, yeah, what's happening here? What
But
alchemy
I
is happening?
never felt that for Sly. And now all of a sudden, I'm like,
I also I like the low key. It feels like there should be a lot of drama in the romance on that show, and I kind of like that there really isn't for whatever reason. Like
so
there,
far.
yeah, so far, but it's like this should be a problem, and for some
Yeah.
reason it's not being one. And it's like
It
cool.
will be. It must be.
Hold on, it will be. We're gonna go on a quick ad break, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody. We are back, and now we're gonna get into the main topic this week. We were able to do it, everybody. We got through the news. And I thought this would be a good time since we were told at Comic-Con this year that Wakanda Forever was the end of Marvel Phase 4. That to look back at I wanted to look back with you, Roxy, the Marvel Phase 4 and see how we felt about it. Because I know, independent of how we felt, I think overall it was very divisive for a lot of people. And we had 7 movies, 8 shows. I'm going to list them off real quick, and then we can dive into it. We had, and I did this in in release order, and hopefully I got it right. WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki. Got our first movie with Black Widow. Then What If? Then Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Hawkeye, Spider-Man No Way Home, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Miss Marvel, Thor Love and Thunder, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, and then finally Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And for comparison, that's 15 total projects. Phase 1 only had 6. Phase 2 only had 6. And Phase 3 had 11. So we really pumped it up for Phase 4. Roxy, overall thoughts on Phase 4?
I can't believe that other than What If, I've seen every single one of these things. That's wild to me. Like, so many viewing hours. I mean, a lot of TV, which is my jam, but I actually don't know how many of these really stand out to me.
Yeah.
Like, where if you were going to say to me, like, what by far and away was your favorites of the, if we were doing a ranking of this, it's like things are kind of blurring together in a way that I'm like, that's interesting. I know that on this list, Spider-Man, big up, very high for me.
Yeah.
Very, very high. She-Hulk, really, really high for me. Love She-Hulk. Falcon and Winter Soldier, really liked that show. I liked 2/3 of Shang-Chi a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Eternal surprised me in a good way. I don't think that this phase is stacking up as highly as the previous phase.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think I would articulate this phase as a very, a lot of big swings, which means I think some for me that they hit out of the park. And then some for me.
Like which?
Like for me, I think the ones that I think some of my and I don't have it listed here, but Werewolf by Night is a part of this. And I think for me, this phase brought me some of my favorite.
And the Guardians thing, right? Or no?
The Guardians Holidays, the 2 specials weren't on the list, and they should be.
Or the Guardians one, because that's after Black Panther. Is that phase 5?
Let's say that's phase 5.
Phase 5 was the first thing in phase 5, the Guardian special.
How funny would that be? Okay, we get to make this decision, and we are going to decide that yes, that is the beginning of Phase 5.
Wild.
Yeah. There you go. You're welcome, everybody. So for me, She-Hulk is one of my favorite MCU things. So is Werewolf by Night. I liked, you're going to hate this, but I like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness a lot. I think Spider-Man No Way Home is my favorite of the MCU Spider-Man movies. I don't think that. I know that, I should say. But I also think some of the projects have, I guess with the inclusion of the shows, adds that kind of like wonkiness, because there's shows like WandaVision I really liked at the beginning. WandaVision Loki really liked at the beginning, didn't so much care for at the end. Hawkeye, I think episode 3 Hawkeye I really loved, but overall I liked the show. Like I enjoyed it.
What is your 2 different questions?
Yes.
What is your least favorite thing on this list in phase 4? And what do you think is the worst thing in phase 4?
Be ready, because I'm going to throw that back at you. Worst and least favorite. Least favorite, Moon Knight, which breaks my heart because you all know I love that character, but I did not think the show was good. Worst might also be Moon Knight. Hold on. Yeah, actually, I do think least favorite and worst are both Moon Knight, because I do think otherwise, I do think there's merit. Like, I really like the first few episodes of Ms. Marvel. I know a lot of people didn't like Eternals. I liked Eternals. It might not be my favorite thing, but I liked it. I liked Black Widow. So as far as like across the board thing that just didn't work for me was Moon Knight. What about you? What's least favorite and worst?
My least favorite was Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Moon Knight might have been the worst.
Yeah, it just felt the least focused, I think, is if I were to sum up all of the issues I have with it, I think that might be how I would phrase it. The least focused.
It's not my least favorite. Definitely not. But it was least focused is an interesting way of putting it. I would say most confusing.
Yes.
I
agree.
It was very complicated and confusing.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes something not as good.
Yeah.
Even if you like it, because like I like the character and I was invested in and I liked watching it. But when I step back and think like, how well done is this? I think that there was a lot of holes that were not super well thought out.
That makes a lot of sense to me. And and like you said, there's just stuff that didn't like. I really liked the first half of Shang-Chi. Really did not like the second half of Shang-Chi. So again, I think for me, that's the overall theme of this is just kind of like uneven. You know what I mean? Whereas I think there's critiques I could level at the previous phases, but they were always pretty level in quality. You know what I mean? And for better or worse, there were very few that like broke through to like really blow my mind, but there also weren't ones, especially in phase 3, we didn't have any like dark worlds. Throw the dark world. We didn't have anything that like shit the bed.
Is the outlier, I guess you love Doctor Strange, but for me, I guess then the outlier here is Spider-Man. Like that was excellent. I thought that was just like top notch.
I think for me, the outliers, the one above, head and shoulders above the rest, is She-Hulk. For me, I really liked the way it played with the lore. Spider-Man obviously gave me the feels. And again,
here's a question about Spider-Man that we could spend 4 hours on, but we will spend 2 seconds on, I guess. So Spider-Man counts as a Marvel Phase 4 movie?
Mm-hmm. Okay. With Sony. Yeah, because it's part of the connected, obviously it's a little bit weird, but yeah, it's part of the ongoing story to the point where it's like mentioned in Doctor Strange and in She-Hulk.
Right. No, I know that it's part of the MCU, but it's just like, when I'm giving my credit, it's like the one that stands out to me is the one that's produced by Sony.
By somebody else. Yeah, exactly. We have a couple questions from the Discord. Leonard Kim asked, what new character that was introduced did you like the most? What character already existing did you appreciate exploring further and gaining more backstory?
She-Hulk.
For both? Oh, no, wait, for the first one, new character.
New character, She-Hulk. I think that... She-Hulk. And then for, I guess this is a cheat, but characters that I appreciated getting to see more, the 2 previous Spider-Men.
Yes, that is kind of a cheat, but yes, 100%. I think this touches on something that I do feel like phase 4 continued to do well from the previous phases, which is even stuff I didn't like, I usually liked the character. Like, I didn't love the direction Miss Marvel went in. I still want to see more Miss Marvel. You know what I mean?
I feel you on that. Yep, for sure.
And so
Miss Marvel, the first couple episodes, you and I were vibing with.
Way on board with. Because it did what She-Hulk did and which more shows did, where it really committed to like doing a different thing. Like this, it's just a girl in high school that happens to have superpowers. What boy is she gonna kiss? And then it's like, oh, but also multiple dimension save the world. It's like, nope, sorry, show. That's not the part I care about. I want to know which boy she's gonna kiss. All right, that's the important thing. Yeah. What new? I agree with you with She-Hulk. I do also want to. I do want to throw some love towards Yelena. Florence Pugh as Yelena and Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. Like, I am very excited for more of all 3 of those characters. I don't know. We obviously know we're getting Yelena again in Thunderbolts. I don't know when we're going to see Kate Bishop again, but I thought best part of Hawkeye was Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop.
Yeah, as we're talking about Hawkeye, though, characters that we liked better than ever before. This is my favorite I ever liked Hawkeye.
Great point. Very good point. Wait, so characters that we've had.
Oh, and I loved in terms of new characters too. Druid.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the Eternals characters.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah, we're weird. We like the Eternals movie. Characters already existing. I want to say I liked the way we explored Sam more in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I do want to say Roxy and I are different boats here. I was not a big fan of Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange until Multiverse of Madness, and I really liked that movie. Was it because of his character? Not really, but I did. It made me like his version of the character more. Oh, you're also not going to like this. I thought making Wanda a villain made her one of the best villains in the MCU. So I thought that was interesting. Sorry.
Do you even care about me?
I'm sorry. She's gonna come back and she's gonna save the day in Secret Wars. Just hold her. It's gonna be.
It's not even gonna be her.
They're gonna do it right. No, they're gonna fix it, Roxy. They're gonna fix it. Have faith. Have faith. We got another question from Mike Joyce. What new Phase 4 character would you be okay with never seeing again? This is on the negative side of things. What new Phase 4 character would you be okay with never seeing again?
Do you have an answer to this? I'm really going through I liked all the Eternals characters.
Yeah.
All of them were new and I liked them all. I don't want to just cop out and just do a side character. You know, there was some Black Widow characters that I was like,
nah, that's fine.
Those people again.
That's fine. I think new. Okay, new character. Okay. I do have an answer, and it's going to be kind of mean because of the context. I will say.
Are you going to say the kid in Love and Thunder?
I'm going to. Hold on. I am tempted to say Moon Knight, except I do like Oscar Isaac a lot, and my hope is that they'll redeem this for me. Just like I think you should hold out hope for Wanda. I'm holding out hope that maybe Moon Knight season 2 or however they do it, maybe I'll get a Moon Knight closer to the Moon Knight I love from the comics. So my real answer is it's one of two. I'll let you decide which one, Roxy. It's either Love from Love and Thunder,
yeah,
or, and I did enjoy this movie, T'Challa's kid from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I'm like, I'm okay if we never do anything with that. I don't need the kids. I don't need the kids around.
You're asking me which kid I'm gonna kill?
Yeah, which kid are we never gonna see again?
I feel like we can both change our answer to Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, fuck that. I don't care. Listen, I actually am really excited for Hercules. It was Brett Goldstein is the actor's name.
Yeah, I love him.
Dope, great, awesome. I don't need to see Russell Crowe Zeus again. Get him out of here.
We're definitely gonna see him again, but I thought that performance was egregious.
It was a lot of choices, not just his choices. A lot of choices across the board were made about that performance, and I didn't like any of them.
Yeah, I thought that was super unnecessary.
Oh man, what a letdown that movie. I'm not even saying it's necessarily the worst movie of this phase. It might be though. I'm not even saying that. It just was from the hopes of Ragnarok to that. I was like, oof, what a letdown.
I love Ragnarok.
What a letdown. God damn it. Okay. So with looking at phase 4, I just listed off the previous phases, but looking ahead to phase 5 and 6, and we know that this stuff is in flux. There's been stories going around that they're going to try and do quality over quantity. That feels every once in a while we'll get a news story or rumor that feels like fans this is what they should say. This is what the news story is. It's yeah, but is that what they're really saying? Fucking calm down. Phase 5, as of right now, has 13 total projects, 6 movies, and 7 shows over the course of 2 years.
What are some of the big ones, DJ?
In phase 5, we have more of, let me open this link I put in here. We're supposed to get Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, The Marvels, Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, and Blade on the movie side. Show side, Secret Invasion, Echo, Loki season 2, Ironheart, Agatha, and Daredevil.
And you're most excited for Agatha, right?
Hands down, how could you not be? I am more now that they've announced Aubrey Plaza's in there. I'm like, well, now hold on, now we might have something. The one I am most excited for, and simultaneously most nervous about, is Daredevil, because that could be either really, really cool, or like Thor: Love and Thunder, a big letdown, depending on how it vibes with expectations. What about you?
Going to the movies for a second. Obviously, I'm all over the place, but I feel like I'm really looking forward to the Marvels, actually.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's the room for biggest improvement, because I like all of the actresses, like Brie Larson and you know and all that stuff.
It'd be cool to see them.
And I liked Candyman, and that's the same director, so I think there's potential to do something really cool there.
And then, yeah, Daredevil is definitely the one that got my eye on most, because I don't care about What If. I'm not stoked about Echo, which I feel bad about, but it just didn't get my juices flowing.
Yeah.
Loki, I could watch him do anything, but like not clamoring for it. Agatha, I don't even understand. Ironheart, okay. And so I guess that Secret Invasion, yes, and Daredevil for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And I do kind of hope that they kind of dial in. I think part of what contributed to that unevenness is it felt like with a lot of the Disney Plus shows, not just Marvel ones, they didn't know how a TV show worked, or they didn't know what they wanted Disney Plus shows to be like. And it feels like with She-Hulk and with Andor, we're kind of like getting a little bit better about like, oh, here's what they could be. So that makes me hopeful for stuff like Daredevil. And listen, Agatha could be a dark horse. It could come out and blow our minds. You know what I mean? Like Wanda could come out at the end of that and be like, it was Wanda all along, and she saves the day, and she's a good guy now, and you love it. You don't know.
I guess.
You don't know. You don't. But point is, you don't know. And then the only things we know about in Phase 6 are the 2 Avengers movies, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four. Everything else is up in the air. Do you think we'll see any follow-ups? Like, do you think we'll see...
Yeah, like Shang-Chi.
Like Shang-Chi, Moon Knight.
I do.
Okay.
Do you?
The one I would say yes is, you just mentioned Shang-Chi, except that the guy that directed is now doing Avengers movie. So are we giving Shang-Chi 2 to somebody else? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Because I have a hard time imagining you're going to do Kang Dynasty and a Shang-Chi in the same, and he's doing the Wonder Man series. That has to land in here somewhere.
Yep, totally.
That's a lot.
Totally.
That's a lot to ask of anybody.
And that ends in what year?
Phase 6 ends in 2026. Another 2 year, 2024 to 2026.
Are the phases usually only 2 years?
No. So phase one was what, like 4 to 5 years. Phase 6 was 2 to 3 years, and phase 3 was about 3 years. And so now the phases are getting shorter, but having more things.
I think that I like longer phases, less things, or like same amount of things in longer phases. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot, and like, I genuinely am bummed that Shang-Chi, I loved that character.
Yeah.
I'm bummed that there's nothing in sight right now. You know, like, that's weird.
And it is weird. Obviously, I know we're doing shows differently, but it's weird that there's no, like, are we getting conversation about She-Hulk season 2, Moon Knight season 2? Are they even seasons, or is it going to be, are you treating them like movies? And so it'll be Moon Knight, or She-Hulk with a subtitle. You know what I mean? Like, how are we doing this? The only one that has a season 2 is Loki, which cool.
Well, that's so weird too. And I guess Wanda, because Agatha.
I get, but it's technically a spinoff, right?
Yeah. Aren't they all technically spinoffs?
Same with Echo. Echo's technically a spinoff.
No, I mean, like, isn't WandaVision technically a spinoff?
That is the entire MCU is essentially just one big spinoff.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, man. In the chat, Mike Joyce says, overall kind of disappointed in phase 4. Leonard Kim loved it. 6 movies in my current MCU top 10. And that gets to my point that it has been divisive. Everybody having different feelings about it.
6 movies in his top 10 from phase 4?
Aren't there only 6 movies? Are all 6 of them in your top 10? Oh, there's 2. There's only one movie didn't make into his top 10. It's Love and Thunder.
What?
I'm gonna bet it's Love and Thunder as my bet. Leonard Kim, don't tell us. We're just gonna speculate wildly about which movie didn't enter into your top
These
10.
are all in your top 10?
Except one. All right.
One of these is in my top 10.
Huh? None of them.
Only
one.
them.
One of them, which is
Spider-Man.
No Way Home. No Way Home.
And I liked some of them.
I liked Wakanda Forever a lot. I just don't know if I'd put it in my top 10.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I wouldn't put it in my top 10. I honestly am not kidding you. I think my second favorite movie on here with like some distance between actually watching them is Eternals.
That tracks. For me,
I like that movie a lot.
I don't know if Multiverse of Madness might be in the top 10. No Way Home is up there. That might be in my top 10. That's it. But again, if we're counting shows too, Werewolf by Night and She-Hulk would also be in there. Anyway, we'll see. Those are our thoughts on Phase 4. Phase 5 has apparently already started with the holiday special. So we'll be talking about Phase 5 more soon. Quantumania is coming out in like a couple months. But before we go, Roxy, what should the kids be looking out for from you?
You can find me everywhere at Roxy Stryer. Please go purchase our Labor of Love, our 2022 calendar for the World Girls, theworldgirls.com. Just go to the website. There's a signed version and not signed version. We worked so many hours on this, and I think they look awesome. So please go support.
Go check that out. There'll be links in the description. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash. You can find this show everywhere that matters at Only Stupid Answers, but on Twitter and Hive.
Yank out the vowels from stupid. The way that you did it this time was so weird. DJ.
I'm sorry. It's the end of the year. I'm falling apart.
The Hive is throwing us all off. Hive is crumbling at the seam. Hive is not getting enough honey, I think.
We need to give Hive more honey. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.